I still use the free version of YouTube. I might be one of the few people that haven't hopped onto the YouTube premium wave yet, which means I sit through all the annoying ads, right? The ones I know that people worked so hard to make, but I can't wait to just hit skip ad at the countdown. Lately though, I keep getting the same kind of ad, and it's about therapy over and over again. I mean, I don't know if it's the universe trying to send me a message through the algorithm or something, but I can't even watch my prank videos in peace without someone whispering about reclaiming your inner child. And it got me thinking, what's up with all this therapy speak lately? I've been a premium user of Headspace for years now. And if you don't know what Headspace is a meditation app. It used to be this very simple, quiet app just for meditation, nothing extra. But lately, it feels like it's trying to be something bigger. Like it's slowly becoming a full on therapy app. Everywhere I turn, every other podcast I listen to, every random scroll on Twitter or X, it's all starting to feel like therapy is being sold wholesale. And it's not just my meditation app. There's always a new app, a new course, another peace of mind subscription being pushed, usually with a promo code that gives you 50% off at checkout or something. And every time I see stuff like this, I start scratching that part of my brain again. I start wondering, why is this everywhere all of a sudden? So I decided to look into it. I decided to look up the Google trends for the word therapy and other associated terms like mental health, inner child, healing, and so on. Google Trends is great for mapping curiosity. And if you don't know what Google Trends is, it's basically like a website showing how often people search for specific words or topics over time, right? So you can see if something is becoming more popular, when it peaked, and even where in the world people are searching for it the most. And I set the time frame for these words to the past 10 years. Now, even though I learned a couple interesting things, how these searches tend to spike during the winter months, probably because everyone is a little bit sadder towards the end of the year, which is cool. And how big events like a celebrity dying made people look up things like trauma and healing. All of this was nice, it was good. But it was the pandemic that really pushed everything into overdrive. 2021 especially was wild. People were Googling how to heal more than ever before. Even terms like mental health and therapy hit their highest points in 2021. It's like we all collectively realized, oh, I'm not okay. And since then, these terms have become super mainstream. They're everywhere now, from TikToks to brand slogans and stuff. But it still didn't answer the why per se for me. I mean, sure, it's great that people are searching for these things. Maybe they're finally trying to understand themselves more. But I kept thinking, why is there such a big machine push behind it now? Why does it feel like therapy has become a product? Like it's being sold to us just like gym memberships or skincare routines. You see, there's something we humans do where when something hurts too much or feels too big to handle, we kind of dress it up. We don't even mean to, but it's like a reflex. We soften the edges, we give it nicer colors, and we find the right words so it feels less messy. That's what I think happened with therapy. At first, it was this raw, honest thing, something people turned to when life got overwhelming. But over time, especially after the pandemic cracked everything open, therapy started to look prettier, more polished, like a lifestyle. And maybe that's not just capitalism doing its thing, maybe it's us too. Perhaps we need it to look that way. Because if the real work of therapy, which is sitting with your pain, unpacking years of behavior, questioning who you are, was marketed exactly as it is, nobody will click the ad. So instead, we get the vibe of healing, The candles, the mantras, the journaling prompts in warm colors. We get reels saying this is your reminder to rest while a soft piano music plays in the background. It feels like self awareness, but it doesn't quite touch the nerve. So, yeah, the big machine push is annoying, but it's also giving us exactly what we maybe subconsciously asked for, a version of mental health that doesn't actually challenge us too much, a version that lets us feel sane but keeps us just far enough away from the real uncomfortable stuff. I mean, you see all the my therapist this week said tweets and the self diagnosis that come with it. And it's lovely and it's introspective. Don't get me wrong. It's like we figured out the language of therapy so well that we can talk about our trauma, but without ever really confronting it. Some form of emotional distancing, if you will. I mean, it's safer to talk like we're in therapy than to actually sit in the uncomfortable, silent path of what therapy demands. And this is where a marketable audience comes in with big money influence. So you have a huge group of people who feel seen by this language, who resonate with the ideas, who prefer it in small, digestible pieces. And that's perfect for business. All you gotta do is sell the feeling of healing, a product that sounds therapeutic, a service that looks introspective, a brand that gets you. It's the perfect setup. People want comfort and clarity, and companies want engagement and sales. So they meet in the middle. It's perfect. I know it sounds like I'm being cynical about therapy, but that's not really what I'm trying to do. I mean, I use the Headspace app too, and I love it. But sometimes it's a bit much. And don't even get me started on the message fatigue. The slogans, oh my god. It's okay not to be okay. Ugh, I hate it. I hate that slogan so much. But that's just me, I guess. I'm not big on slogans. You see, humans have a sharp emotional radar for when something feels off, feels patronizing, feels forced. My issue with slogans is it cheapens the message. I understand it comes from a good place, but when something personal becomes part of like a corporate tone of voice, it feels like a mimic. Repetition kills sincerity. The more we hear these phrases, the more they lose meaning, even if the message is good. And once people start getting jaded about a particular messaging, that's when the emotional numbness kicks in. And in 2025, the way we express emotional numbness is through memes. We love memes on this show. Memes are amazing. Memes about my toxic trait or trauma dumping. I mean, I saw one the other day that said, my toxic trait is thinking I'm healed because I drank water today. It's clever, it's sarcastic, and it made me chuckle. But I also know that we hide behind humor to keep things at arm's length. Therapy speak is another thing people do that make me want to pull my hair out, to be honest. I mean, it's getting really ridiculous and hyperbolic up there. I've seen people say things like they're traumatized because they got the wrong coffee order or because someone looked at them funny on the train. And I'm like, okay, settle down, guys. Like, this is becoming really ridiculous. The word trauma used to mean something heavy. Now it gets tossed around for anything mildly uncomfortable. When everything is trauma, nothing really is. I mean, it's hard to take this stuff seriously when the word is being thrown around and it's just stretched thin. So we have people who overuse the term, and on the other side, we have folks who mock anyone who talks like this. And the whole thing it becomes a mess. I mean, if you speak sincerely, you risk sounding performative. If you make a joke, you might be brushing off something real. So we end up stuck between trying to care and trying not to cringe. I mean, TikTok is replete with self diagnosis and people playing armchair psychiatrist, labeling folks with terms like narcissist, or I'm being avoidant, or trauma response, or emotionally unavailable. And all of this is after watching a 30-second clip. I mean, it's wild. With thousands of people in the comments saying, oh my God, this is so me, or finally someone explained what I've been feeling. And while, yes, there's something powerful about finally having language for your experience, there's also a risk. You see, those labels start to become your identity. It creates what some therapists call a fixed identity. Instead of seeing emotions or patterns as things that happen to you, things you can move through, right? You start to see them as who you are. So, I am depressed, for instance, becomes more than a description. It becomes the lens through which you view every relationship, every failure, every interaction. And the weirdest thing about all this is how some people start to like claim these mental illnesses as a kind of social currency. Like every piece of content they make is about being depressed or anxious or whatever. And I think, okay, but what happens when no one's watching? When the likes and the validations aren't coming in? Because if your whole sense of self has been built around a diagnosis, what's the incentive to actually feel better? What happens when you do feel better? I assume that true healing, is often boring, private, and deeply uninstagrammable. I don't know if that's a word, but I just made that now. And I get that this wasn't exactly a pro therapy episode either, but I do understand why therapy feels so trendy now. It gives us structure in a chaotic world. It gives us something to hold on to, something that sounds like clarity, even if we're still lost. In a weird way, diagnosing ourselves or turning our struggles into content helps us feel like we're not just suffering, helps us feel like we're doing something about it, even if that something is mostly just talking around it. And here's the thing, so many of the issues we're trying to heal from aren't just personal, a lot of them are structural. We keep focusing on individual based solutions to problems that are baked into the system. I mean, I know people whose struggles are rooted in things like poverty or lack of opportunities or being denied a fair shot in life, not because of some internal flaw that they have. And I don't say this to downplay mental illness at all, but I genuinely believe that if more people had access to like stable housing or a livable wage or just real prospects for the future, so many of these things we call mental health issues would look very different. Maybe even disappear altogether. Maybe that's the real thing bothering me about this. Not that therapy is bad, not that healing isn't important, but somewhere along the line, it started to feel like another thing where we're expected to buy into, another thing we are told will fix everything if we just try hard enough. And who knows, maybe after all this ranting I'm doing, I'll finally click on one of those therapy ads. Maybe there's some deep psychological wound hiding underneath this episode that I'm not ready to look at yet. Wouldn't that be ironic? Either way, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for listening. And as always, you can check out other episodes in the library. You can give the show a rating, and you can follow our TikTok and the YouTube channel also. Thank you in advance for doing all of these things. Links are always going to be in the description down there. Stay safe out there and talk to you next time.